Go ahead.
Good afternoon, good evening, man. Wherever you are, peace and blessings to you. Happy Sunday. As you can see, we do have a guest. This is on Everything I Love, of course, that you're watching. We have Mr. Auriellio Diaz. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
All right, not too bad. And what we have is a gentleman who's running. Is it May 7th?
Well, I'll be on the ballot for May 7th, but I'll actually be running in November.
Okay.
For the big election, but I'll still be on the primary ballot.
All right. So would you like to let the people, the position you're running for, who
Yeah,
you are,
definitely.
how you plan?
My name's Auriellio Diaz, not Areola, and I'm running for Mansfield City Council president, which is a different role from a mayor, obviously, and then from a council person. A lot of people think that if you're a president, you can actually vote on every single topic or issue that's being presented, but you actually vote if there's a tiebreaker. And the purpose of the president, their sole role is to really facilitate the council meetings, to ensure that the councilmen and the people who are present from the community know all of the information. Everyone well-rounded, they're informed.
Right.
And then in case if the mayor's absent, then you would take on a lot of those responsibilities.
Okay.
So yeah, I was actually looking to run for just a council person, but a council person for my ward next year, which would have been, a year from now. But then this opportunity came and they asked if I would do it. And I'm like, let me do the research and find out how it is. And it was different. And so yeah, I'll do it. So I felt confident, so.
Okay. So, you own, what's it called, the La Luna? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so La Luna, it's over here on Walnut. I bought that building 2 years ago. I had no vision for it at all, I just got it. So I live upstairs in it's an old dance studio. It's called Arthur Murray Dance Studio from the 50s, and people would do ballroom dance classes and stuff like that. And then the downstairs, the commercial space, we do for the past 2 years we've had concerts. I do dance classes for adults with disabilities. We have art shows every quarter, and we've been using it now for a campaign meeting spot. Wow. So La Luna is a portion of my family's name. So if you drive past 32 North Walnut, you'll see all these kind of funky decals on the windows, and those are actually my family members wearing alien masks. Yeah. We're trying to make it more of a cosmic looking building from the outside. So yeah.
Okay.
So can you explain what the council is, or what is their job essentially? Because a lot of people don't get into that or tap into that type of thing. So
I would say in the past 2 years, I was not really interested in city council things. I lived on town for 10 years, and the only time I would ever go is if my job told me to go. If it's an issue that they're going to present that is going to be voted on that affects my job, or is going to affect taxes or something like that. So I would never really went to it until things directly affected me. But essentially what it is we have 6 wards in Mansfield, and you have a council person who's supposed to represent each ward. This is the 6th ward that we're in, and that councilman and councilwoman is supposed to be they're representing you, and it's hard because there's so many people in that neighborhood. So they're not really in it to they shouldn't be driven by their ego. They're supposed to be in touch with your neighbors and your businesses and be what do you want to see? And they're to be the mouthpiece for the council and look out for your best interests. So the council has 6 of them. There's 2 at-large councilmen who focus on all the wards rather than just one neighborhood. At these council meetings, the mayor's present, the director of safety, council president, and city clerk. So, there's a lot of room for, engaging people because they only have them every other Tuesday. Right now they've been packed because it's election season and people are making appearances. They want to know what's going on. But essentially, council is supposed to be the voice of really the city. And but unfortunately, a lot of people don't feel welcome there. It's kind of intimidating because when I would go, the terminology they're using, I didn't understand it, so it kind of made me not want to go.
Right.
Until something directly affected me, which I always found out after the fact because I never went to city council. So I think just the things that I do now with my job and living downtown and all these things that are happening in downtown Mansfield and neighborhoods, I want to be more involved in a different way rather than just the creative community and working in social services. So yeah.
So what do you think you can do differently to make the community more aware that these meetings are actually for us and get us involved?
My big thing is I was saying our platform is diversity inclusion, and I said earlier, I get so aggravated because it's election and everyone's saying diversity, diversity. Everyone's been saying it for years, but no one's doing anything about it. You know, they might have like a token brown or black person on a committee or a board, but nothing's ever happening.
Of course.
And it's the same person.
Yeah.
I've probably been that token person,
Right.
you know.
That's real.
But I think my goal is really to involve every single person, tap into the relationships that I have, you know, black, brown, multiracial, you know, LGBTQ community, those with mental health, disabilities, vets, age. I mean, these are people I know a lot just from, I grew up here, but I'm not from here originally, doing my job at New Hope in downtown Mansfield. So just really involving those people as much as possible. My campaign's been taken a little further, like really, like getting to know people who I really feel like I haven't really like got to know. You know, I thought I was kind of connected to a lot of people,
Right.
which is a bad thing because then it gives you room to grow. But my goal as a president would be to really help with how would you market these city council meetings. You know, they don't archive them; they send out minutes and stuff like that. In the day of age of Instagram and YouTube, they should really be taped, even though that'd be a long ass video,
Right.
and archived on YouTube. So let's say you want to see a city council meeting from a year ago. You should. That's not there. I mean, you can request the minutes and stuff
Right.
like that, but you have to make it more attractive and more engaging, and that's why people like us and others don't want to go to it. I mean, you read about it later on in Richmond Source and News Journal, but there's not a lot of representation. I mean, the city council is diverse. I mean, I'm not saying that, but we need to find ways to bring people to city council meetings or ask questions, and that's not happening a lot of times. We're seeing it now, but not now. And my passion is really like, how are we going to make that happen? And my plan is really just to, do what I'm doing now, talk to people directly. We starting to hold town meetings at the library, just going everywhere from Roseland to the South Side, and those are places I lived at before, so
Okay.
that's nothing new.
Right. So it sounds like you have and I'm sure our viewers could appreciate you have a concern for individuals culturally who are being left out. I
Yeah.
want to ask just get away from the boring political
Yeah,
stuff
no,
for a
we can talk
second.
about anything you
Keep
want.
people
Talk
engaged.
personal, yeah.
So what culturally how does that why is that important to you that all cultures are represented in high places in politics?
No, that's a good question. I'm from Texas, but we moved here. My brother and I moved here when I was 3, and moving from Texas to Mansfield was hard because this was like the schools were like a lot. My peers were like black and white. There wasn't like a lot of kids who were biracial and multiracial. So we knew firsthand what it was like. They just thought we were Chinese, and that's all they always made fun of us and stuff like that. So I think really embodying that as we got older, I just connected to a lot of people who, I don't want to say marginalized, but people who were not really respected or they're ridiculed a lot, or no one wanted to really get to know you. And I went to school here at senior high, and after I left there, I went to Columbus, and all the jobs I've ever had, I've worked with, adults who were homeless. I worked with kids who were sex offenders, which people hear that and they're like, oh, how can you do that? And when I came back to Mansfield, I worked 12 years with adults with disabilities. So working with those populations of people who I was kind of uncomfortable with, or maybe I just did it because I needed a job, at the time. But I learned those people are the ones who really you become their advocate, And I think with me getting older, and I'm not married, I don't have any kids. For me personally, it made me more maternal, and I could identify with them not them being misjudged or ridiculed and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think I'm lucky. I thank God that I have that empathy, and I don't want to lose that. So that's why when I was running for city council, I was kind of intimidated because I'm like, am I going to be too raw? Is that going to hurt me?
Right.
But I'm like, F it. This is how
Yeah.
It's kind of like my job now. I'm like, it's a social service that you're providing for people.
Absolutely.
So that's my huge platform. Yeah.
Oh man, that's dope, man.
Sure. The big thing that we've been talking about, and I think the community in its entirety has been focusing on lately, is the missing of focus on children the ages between like freshman year in high school and like the 21-ish.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to do. There's nothing, nothing that we're really offering them. So do you guys have any plans set to like bridge that gap? Like if I'm a 5-year-old kid, I have after school programs, trampoline park, that type of thing like that. But when I get into 14, where if I'm a 14-year-old woman, most things don't appeal to me.
Yeah.
You know how you get into those type of things.
Yeah.
You're going through maturity, and
You're getting older.
a lot of things are not appealing. I don't want to go to it. What are you guys going to do, or what plans do you guys have in place to make sure that these set of people have something to do or to look forward to?
I like that question. My brother-in-law, he actually posted something on Facebook as a concern, and he's in his late 40s, and he used to be, him and his buddy TC, they used to be the two rec guys at the old Roseland Church. When I was growing up, I'm older than y'all, we had like summer fun in the parks. Yeah. We had all kinds of things. Obviously we had pools, and when we didn't have things, that we acted dumb and we did bad stuff.
Oh man, hey man, look, talking to real people.
We did bad shit. I was delinquent, just never got caught. But that's important to have those types of things, and I think that last year there was a group of 15 of us that were chosen to go to the South by Southwest festival in Austin. Damian Buford, you guys know him. Yeah. Him and I were one of them, and Ben Davis he was formerly of UMaDOT. And we were asked to go and represent Mansfield, different people, different backgrounds, not the same usual suspects who are on the same board. Yeah. And we went and the premise of it was, you come back after a week and you're supposed to implement, you create a city plan that focuses first on downtown, and then how you're going to include everyone. So that was our goal. Now it's called Mansfield Rising. We finished it up, and what we did was we interviewed. We did empathy interviews. You interview as many people as possible from their homes and different groups. We did a big thing at the Renaissance Theater, but people still weren't involved because maybe they didn't know about it. Not everyone has Facebook and stuff like that. At one point, they came up was that age bracket. Like, what do you do for the folks? I mean, for the young folks. I mean, there's nothing for them to do at all. And I think, luckily, I still remember how that was. We've talked about creating, people, you think of a recreational center, what's that going to be? You have to have them several places. I mean, if you go on the north side, I lived on Daisy Street for a few years, and we had a pool over there. We would go to, before it was OC Hill, it was Crevlin. I mean, there's not a whole lot of things you can do, at all. We need to have more, facility. I said facilities, that sounds all criminal. We need, places where kids can go that are welcoming, and they're going to learn something. But it has to be fun, too.
Right.
But it also has to, you can't present it like it's a service. Right. That I'm not going to want to go because now I'm going to feel all needy. It has to be a natural, functioning thing. And we need to have it different areas. There's different needs. There's little Kentucky Roseland. There's kids over there who are doing a lot of bad stuff. And culturally, they're not going to identify with what kids are doing over on the north side and, on the south side. So we have to figure out, we need to really talk about the uncomfortable things like, okay, culturally, what do we need in this area, We should be able to say it and not be afraid that we're going to offend someone. Yeah. But people are so damn afraid about it. Right. And you figure out if the needs for these kids over here, then we need a personalized rec center for them. And that's how you do it, I think. But for those who don't want to do rec centers and stuff like that, I think you have to figure out what do these kids want to do. Where for one is, we all know that in 9th grade, they created the 9th grade academy at senior high because that's where all the kids are dropping out in 9th grade. That's like the highest rate. After 8th grade, are they going to come back? We have a huge homelessness issue with kids. We had, I think about a few years ago, I know it's increased, there were at the time, a record of 200 and some students, city schools who are classified as homeless. Wow. And people think homeless, they're staying under a bridge. No, they're couch surfing, they have no roots. So that categorizes that as homelessness. That's a huge problem there too. Wow. So we have to address those things too, but how do you do it without demeaning someone and making them feel like they're getting charity? Yeah. So I think we need recreation things, but also people are talking about that. That should be on the front page, Yeah, for sure. We know grandparents are raising a lot of kids now. That's no secret. We need to work with people like Parent Aid, which is over on Park Avenue. First, figure out how are we going to help these kids, these young adults, because it gets harder the older you get. Once you're 14, like you said, you want to be grown, but but you're kind of not equipped for it yet.
Right.
Right now, and then this Mansfield Rising plan that we're talking about, one thing they talked about is a skate park, and I support that. I also know culturally and location-wise, that's not going to be for everyone else.
Period.
So how are we going to make this for everyone else? We talked about, well, we'll add some public art opportunities. Everyone's not interested in art,
right.
so needs to be a place where that maybe we can have an area that's for live performances, dancing. But what if you're not to that? I mean, maybe you're into like the athletics.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
You have to
Trade.
exactly. Yeah, trades. I mean, so you have to like really. I don't want to say do a survey or how you're going to get all that information, but there's a way to do it. You go to the schools. You go to different organizations like NECIC and Parent Aid and figure out what are the needs of these kids. And first the main issues like what do they need as far as at home and how's their mental health. So it really bugs me that a lot of these kids they're growing up fast because they're hurting and they're forgotten and they're angry and they're doing bad things because they're angry and lonely and sad.
Absolutely.
So that's huge and that's not changed. I mean that existed when I was your age and younger. It's worse now because we have one pool and will it be open in the summertime?
Right.
Liberty? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. And the parks, I mean, like there has to be. You have to have a bigger plan. So involve those kids and involve their parents or their guardians in it. What do you want? Don't have us telling you what you need. We might know some things, but you're going to need to know, we need to hear from the horse's mouth.
Absolutely.
But I think also, depending on the area of town, it needs to really appeal to that culture,
Man,
So.
not to cut you off, man.
No, you're
I just
cool.
think, I mean, you pretty much answered everything I thought I needed to ask today. No, I mean, and that's
I talk a lot, talk fast,
no,
too.
but it's not. It's enlightening, and I think what I appreciate, and I think what we all, especially our viewers, appreciate, is that you speak from a position of representation.
Yeah.
You speak from experience. It sounds like as far as being maybe feeling like you're locked out of some things because of who you are culturally.
Yeah.
And because of what you represent. So I mean that's exciting to hear. I want to know is that what, because I'm sure politics does get discouraging. I mean, being in it gets discouraging watching, I'm sure.
Just recently, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if not that, you kind of want to talk about what keeps Auriellio going, no matter what, despite the hate and negativity.
Yeah, I think what keeps me going, one thing that I think with here's one bump in the road when it was public that I was running for this position. When News Journal published it, they have to do everyone. Most of it was positive, but then you're seeing things that you see on that you would expect to see on national news. Like there's a lot of these, and I'll say Facebook, but there's a lot of these different closed groups that I was never part of, and then people are telling me or they're taking screenshots of things that people are saying, and these are people you can see their profile saying some bad shit. Like it's all deportation stuff, and I don't care. I mean, I have a thick skin, but I'm thinking is this really going to be an issue?
Yeah.
But that didn't bother me. What bothered me was early on when a city official, and I won't say his name because I guess we're kind of cool now. We fist bump now. He had some concerns about some music videos I did and some of my songs, and he went to the lengths to actually calling my job, calling Democrat headquarters, calling the organization that asked me to be a part of that Mansfield Rising thing. And I don't know what his intentions were, but it was bogus. But you don't do that as a city official.
You cool with this dude still?
I mean, we had so this is my,
Has to be.
well,
For sure, okay.
Kinda.
I won't make that. I won't. Okay.
well, no,
Okay, for sure.
you're right. But I was pissed before because I know this guy from my job, and let's say that these people weren't understanding. I'm already known. I feel from my music and my art and things that I do in my show, I'm public about it. It's art, it's expression, all that kind of stuff. So I confronted him about it. I'm like, we need to talk about this. Why this has nothing to do with politics. So he explained why he did it. Obviously, it was a mistake, but that was a huge eye opener. I have to put up with this. So I never thought music and art would be an issue. I mean, the race I kind of figured, my sexuality I figured, but those are secondary. I don't make those big deals, So that situation made me think, okay, this campaign, we're going to really highlight the musicians, the artists, the poets, because they're overlooked. people don't respect the creative community. They just see us as like, oh, you just go write, rap, and that's nice and cute and that's entertainment. Well, we got shit to say, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should I be cussing? I'm sorry.
Man, you are good.
So that was the premise of my kickoff, was a 2-day music and poetry, and we got young people to come and participate and register. But that was the most discouraging thing, knowing that I was going to be judged for, or finding out that I was going to be judged for videos I was creating or lyrics on my music, and then people were like, well, you know, it's too political or it's too personal, you should probably mute that. I'm like, no, I've been doing that for years, that's who I am.
Well, I guess we're still on.
It's really good we're not live. Gotta edit that out. No, but anybody?
So what's next? If you fill this position, what's next?
If in November comes and if I'm not elected, you know, I'd be bummed, but maybe it wasn't meant. If that doesn't happen, I'm still going to be doing what I'm doing. I'm still going to be, you know, doing community development and still be working with people. I mean, I was doing that crap before this, you know. I'm going to continue, it'll probably make me do it more. I'll be a little bit bummed. If I do get elected in November, I'm going to stand by my word and say what I was saying earlier, including people, you know. Creating committees, are the committees that we do have that address safety and other stuff, get more real people in them, and also create more committees for more people. I think it should be operated by the people. You know, have a city council representative, but why should that person always be the facilitator? So I mean, if after November, I'm going to be, I don't know, I'd like to help them kind of restructure how they do, you know, getting the word out there about the city council. It's going to just
We have a brunch, and I am the worst panel host in the world
No, you're
because
good.
the date slips me, but we do have
August
to fly
3rd.
August 3rd.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say 4th, but I did not. So
I
I'm
mean, you
not.
can come to both, to be honest.
You
I'll
can come
I'll
to
bring a
whatever.
casserole or something.
You can come to whatever as long as we can come to your spot.
Seriously.
Okay, we got you on
Yeah.
camera, so you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
we're actually going to have we have a show we do every year, twice a year, called the Brownstone. We've had 7 of them now, and we have that we highlight musicians of color, and that's one of our biggest shows. And so we're going to probably do one in the fall too. So
On the fall.
yeah, so you know, it's always hit or miss because we always reach out to different. We try to bring back the same folks, but some new folks, and you know, sometimes because they're so busy they can't commit.
Right.
But they're one of our biggest shows, Brownstown, and then we have Moon Cleavage, which is a show for women, all about women. Yeah. So yeah, you guys should
Okay.
definitely come in and represent.
I'll definitely
there.
show up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, Mr. Diaz, it's definitely been a pleasure.
Yeah,
man.
likewise. Thank you for having me, all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I definitely look forward. Get out and vote. Want to tell them one more thing?
Yeah, so right now my website is being created. But right now on Facebook it's Auriellio, it's Aurelio, for Mansfield City Council President. And it's a real cheesy picture of me with my hands on my hips, because I wanted people to see my tattoos.
For sure,
I was told to hide my tattoos. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. No.
So that's where if you go in there, I put on my posts and events and stuff like that. And I'm going to be having a website, and I'll attach that to the Facebook. And we have a lot more events coming up, fundraisers and more interactive community events for people like us. And I'll just keep doing updates until November. I'll be doing door to door. I'll have some yard signs by the summertime. We just finished our photo shoot, which is really cool. It's going to be, there'll be different treatments of pictures with me and folks from all walks of life. So it's important that I'm not the only person on the yard sign.
Right.
You know. So.
All right.
Thank you.
On everything I love. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, I don't know what button to hit. Awesome, man.
Thank you.
I really